If you see the mail, you know that it's time to talk about mail day. I have all this mail that's just piling up, and I need to get all of these cards into binders, and so you know what time it is. We're going to talk about what I'm buying, what cards are important to me right now. Hint, there is no reserve list in here today. However, all of these cards are in some way related to EDH or popular constructed formats. What I'm buying, video starts right now.
Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below.
For a limited time only, if you join the Patreon at any level, you will receive a holographic Jake and Joel Are Magic logo sticker. Link in the description below.
Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. I'm Jake. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. Today we're talking about what I'm buying. We're going to go over all of the fun cards that I've been picking up in the mail. Zendikar Rising recently came out. Double Masters shortly before that was hot on everybody's mind. We have Commander Legends that's about to come out. We have Secret Lair Walking Dead, which is just doing crazy things in the market all by itself. Make sure you're subscribed because I like to cover the finance side of this game, Magic the Gathering. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure you're subscribed. And if you feel compelled, if you really do like the channel, check us out on Patreon. Any level gets you into the Discord. It might be a good fit for you. I guess let's just go ahead and get into this. I've been picking up some cards. I'm always like, I stopped doing these big specs. I used to do these really big specs. Let's make sure that we're all focused up here. So it used to be whenever a new set would come out, I would always spec tons of cards out of like a standard set. But you know what? I've seen too many weird things happen lately. I've seen all these weird things happen with all of these different variants and stuff, and so I'm a lot less likely to throw tons of money. These are a couple foil Ruin Crabs. If you don't know, Ruin Crab has really put Modern Mill on the map. If we ever go back to Paper Magic, if we get big support for these tournaments again, this is one of the small staples. It's just an uncommon. I think I paid $3 or $4 a foil for this card, and that might actually be a little high. I started buying them at like as much as $2 to $3 a foil. It's just an excellent card, and if it does anything like what Hedron Crab did for Mill, it will be a staple in the deck, and the deck is known as 8 Crab, if you want to check it out. But it is finally a modern Mill deck that actually packs a punch. What we see here is a foil Showcase Felidar Retreat. Excellent, excellent EDH card. This is one of those cards that's super duper cheap right now. Even though it's the same casting cost as Smothering Tithe, I do not think it's the same power level as Smothering Tithe. It's not even close to the same power level as Smothering Tithe. It's a really good card though. And for token-based strategies, which are really popular in EDH, Felidar Retreat will become a staple, in my opinion. The fact that if you already have a wide field, you could play fetch land, crack it, put a bunch of counters on your entire field, and then if you have Doubling Season out, you're going to get even more counters. It just seems like a no-brainer kind of card. Let's go ahead and keep this going here. Get a couple more Felidar Retreats. Let's go ahead and get these out of here. What have you been buying? I want to hear about it in the comments. Are you still buying stuff? Is that still a thing that's going on? Are you still picking up singles? These are a couple non-foils of the showcase as well here. Let's go ahead and move those to the side. Foil Felidars, foil Crabs, non-foil showcase. More Felidar Retreats. And you may be like, Jake, why do you need all these Felidar Retreats? Well, the thing is I'm not making huge waves in the market here. It's just that the buy-in price for these is so low. It's not like I'm losing a ton of money on these. Even if this card were to go up just a couple bucks, this is a couple more non-foil copies of Felidar Retreat here. Even if it only goes up like a couple bucks, I'm able to sell these and then convert all of these into different cards. And there's a lot of people that don't like this practice right here, and I do acknowledge that. There's a lot of people that are like, MTG Finance is the worst thing that's ever happened, and yes. Let's get these out of here. Can we save these cards? Let's get them out. Here we go. What do we got? Oh, wow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies there. And then also here, some more of the Showcase Felidar Retreats. I think I got all of these at about like $1 a piece. So again, for a card that's like a really good EDH card, I think it's just kind of like, I don't know, makes sense. Another mill piece here, little foil mesmeric orb. I think I picked this up for about $6. Mesmeric orb before the reprint was starting to get really high in price, and you have to think mesmeric orb isn't just good. We'll just keep that in there for now. Mesmeric orb isn't just good in constructed mill, it's also good for certain fringe EDH playability. If you're playing like kind of like stacks kind of theme, or kind of like resource denial, or just anything that's it's just such a passive, powerful effect. And it does happen to you as well, but if you build around this kind of effect, you can do some crazy damage to your opponents. And this is one of the cards, I should note this, these are the reason that mill does so well now is because if you notice, Ruin Crab, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 3 cards. So that's getting around Leyline of Sanctity, which is one of the big hoses for mill. And Mesmeric Orb, until Ruin Crab, was one of the best ways to get around that as well. So a lot of the time in mill, I like to tune my sideboard to deal with a resolved Leyline. So whether that's a Brazen Borrower that's going to allow me to bounce it back to their hand and then bring in a little bit of counter magic, or bounce it and then make sure that I have a Thoughtseize in hand as well, that's like a good way to deal with it. But normally if Leyline gets resolved and you're playing a mill deck, you know, that's all like target player cards. So if you are not able to target a player, you're going to be in a lot of trouble if you're playing a mill deck. Little foil Unhinged Mountain, or not Unhinged, Double Masters, but it's the John Avon Unhinged reprint. However, the border is a little bit different. But these lands right now are remarkably low, and I do see them having desirability moving forward, just specifically because a lot of powerful constructed decks are going to run very few basics. If you're playing like Modern or Pioneer, you don't need a lot of these. For me, I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to pick up at least 3 or 4 of each, just so if I decide, you know, I do want to, like the mill deck I was just talking about, if I want, I only run like, I think 2 swamps and 3 islands in that deck. So I would just be able to run all of these Double Masters islands in there, really give the deck a nice little pimp factor. We're making it through. We got some more Ruin Crabs here. We've already talked about crabs. I've already talked about my crabs. Everybody knows about my crabs and how much I love my crabs. How many copies is this? These are foils. So some really cool cards. Now the problem with these, and I will say this, is that these are starting to curl. You can see that curling on these showcase cards. So it's just kind of annoying about foils. Maybe it does make a case for just acquiring non-foil versions of cards. However, the deck that these are going to be going into is mostly foiled out, and so if the deck is completely foiled, I can see it not being as big of a problem, as they're not going to be super marked. But what I can suggest for this is, what I like to do is, and the deck is going to be pretty thick after you're done with it, but what these will go into are the KMC Super Hard sleeves, which are going to be a little bit thicker, actually a bit thicker than the Perfect Fits, and then those sleeves will go inside the deck, and then actually all of the cards from the deck will go into a deck box and be smushed together, and hopefully that can do something about this. However, yeah, it's definitely not something to ignore. Get those foil crabs there, keep this going. Oh, this is actually a more recent pickup here. A little Creeping Tar Pit Expedition. This is a pet card of mine. I think if you don't know that about me, back when we started playing in Zendikar and Worldwake, End of Alara block, Creeping Tar Pit was one of my win conditions in my blue-black control deck alongside... I actually wasn't playing Jace the Mind Sculptor because I couldn't afford for Jace the Mind Sculptor at the time. It would be much later in my Magic career that I would actually get my first Jace the Mind Sculptor, but what the deck did have were Creeping Tar Pits. I remember it had Gravy Train, Grave Titan. It got to run powerful cards like Ponder, because Ponder was in standard at the time. It also ran Frost Titan. So it was like Titans, Tar Pits, and then a bunch of counter magic, essentially, and good draw spells. And it would actually close out games a good bit. But this card right now is super duper cheap. As you know, Zendikar is... Zendikar Rising, collector boosters are being opened in droves. We're hitting maybe like the tail end of that, where we're going to stop seeing lots of those openings. But this is a case for non-foil versions of cards. If you're looking for a nice sleeve playable version, this is a nice like Gem Mint, Creeping Tar Pit. I think I bought this for like as low as $8. So these expeditions, because they're not like Battle for Zendikar expeditions, Kaladesh masterpieces, Amonkhet invocations, these are just mass printed. They're included as toppers within all of the Zendikar products, the Zendikar Rising products. You could get them in boxes, you could get them in set booster boxes, you can get 2 of them in collector booster boxes of the non-foils. Now's a great time to be picking up these cards. Just saying, if you're sleeping on these, if you're waiting for them to get lower, they might get a little bit lower, but now is the time. And let's see. Oh, it's another crab. Another foil Krabby Boy. Again, can't say enough about this card. It's a beast in standard right now. Excellent in modern. Some people just play it because they're fetching so many lands. Let's see the condition of this. Nope. See that? A little bit of a curl, but mostly taken care of. I really do love the art on this showcase here. Really cool card. Oh, don't worry, cat. I'll let you in just a second. You want to go in there? Here, I'll let you in. Go in. Go in. And last but not least, I think this is this the last one? No, this is it. I'm pretty sure this is going to be something a little bit higher end here. Get out of there. Yes. All right, so I did find this, and now these are super cheap right now. It's so funny how Magic the Gathering is like this out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. It's like once it's out of the limelight, nobody really cares about it. This is a really, really, really popular card here. I love the art on this. Some people don't like it that much, but I am a big fan of it. How do I get it out? Is it a side loading? What have you done with this? Okay, it's like quadruple sleeved, it looks like. Here, we'll just leave it like this. You can see it just fine. But Chrome Mox, it's a card that I have a Japanese copy of, so I've been meaning to acquire an English copy. My copy is a Japanese Eternal Masters version. And for me, this checks a lot of boxes. I love this like bright fluorescent kind of neon art. I like pretty much everything about this card. As far as EDH goes, I really do want a pimp version of this card, and I found this for $50. I know that variants are kind of like falling out of the limelight, especially new variants, but you have to remember the foil version of this card, and this is the foil, this only appeared in overpriced Double Masters VIP packs. So if you wanted to get this foil, that was the only spot to find it. And I know that a lot of that product was cracked. We saw tons of Force of Wills, but a lot of these cards, because now the focus is on Commander Legends, the focus is on what new secret layer is out, the focus is on what set is coming out in 2021, the focus is on, oh my gosh, there's going to be enemy fetch lands, but they're going to be in Modern Horizons. The focus is on all of the leaks right now. So Double Masters, even though it was highly anticipated, everybody was counting it down. All of these cards, it's like the people who don't need this are selling it cheap so that they can buy into the next Magic the Gathering product that's coming out. So these variants as well, the Zendikar Rising variants, all of these are already dropping. The expeditions from Zendikar Rising, it's all cheap. If it's not in the front of somebody's mind, if it's not the number one card that's played in a deck, if it's not the best CEDH card, it's like you can just find it. You just have to look on eBay. Make sure you set your prices up, price plus shipping, lowest first, and check back. Because there are people that are trying to move these cards for the lowest price possible. If you're smart, you can jump on those deals and you can get some great cards. I hope you've enjoyed this video where we talked about what I'm buying. I love making these videos for you. Let me know what you think of these specs. Obviously, Felidar Retreat, Ruin Crab, a little bit of specs, but these are just picked up for my collection. I don't really go out of my way and buy anything that doesn't seem like a really good EDH pickup. So keep that in mind as you're buying cards. Is this something that's powerful and potent in EDH, like Felidar Retreat? Clearly, it's not smothering Tithe, but the versatility on this card, the fact that it's going to create tokens, you build that into a token theme, the fact that it's going to do counters, you build that into a counter theme, or why not both? I do think this is a very, very powerful and potent EDH card moving forward. And you know what? Until next time, I'm Jake with Jake and Joel Are Magic. I hope you've enjoyed this video about what I'm buying, and I'll see you later. I'm tapped out.